Hello, my name is Brooke Shaden, and today we're talking about 6 ways that you can create more consistently. This is such a big problem for so many people, whether you're juggling responsibilities of a full-time job or you're a parent. There are so many different ways that we can get distracted from our creativity. So let's talk about 6 different ways that we can dive deeper into our creativity faster, because essentially that's what we all want, is to be able to pursue our passions, our creativity at the ready, like in a way that is more accessible, gives us more freedom, and allows us to really dive into the things that we love. So let's chat. Number 1 is to set up a space that you feel inspired to work in, where when you see that little space that you've created for yourself, it excites you to be there. You feel like you can just do creative things in that space. So this space right here is actually my writing space. This is where I come to do my novel writing, and I put things in the space that I love. So I've got my moon mask. As you can see, he's always there with us, and I love this piece. Every time I see it, I feel so whimsical and excited to make something. I always have a candle, so usually like my little ritual is to light a candle every time I start writing, and that makes me feel so just like warm and happy in it. And it's a symbol, it's a physical thing that I can do to represent that this is my writing time. So make a space that you love, even if it's just the tiniest little space or just one trinket or totem that you can put there that makes you feel creative. It helps so much. Number 2 is to define and then carve out your most productive hours. So if you happen to know that you're a night owl, don't try to force it away. I know so many people who are like ashamed of being night people. Like if you're not a morning person, then you're not productive and you're not prolific, and I think that's ridiculous. The thing that we have to remember is that we all operate on different schedules, and none of that really matters. Whatever works for you works for you. So figure out your most productive few hours. Like for me, it's from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Those are my most productive hours. So I prioritize those hours for what I want to get done the most each day. Number 3 is to batch work. And this is kind of counterintuitive because we're talking about ways that you can consistently be more creative. But if you're like, you know what, I don't have those peak hours free and I just can't do it, and I don't have a space to call my own, and I don't have whatever, find one day out of every month, even if it's just a month, that you can just batch work. Like you're gonna focus, you're gonna get a babysitter, you're gonna set up your workspace, and from morning to night, you just make so much stuff. And that's a great way that you can have content to release without having to produce every single day or even on a weekly basis. Number 4 is to create accountability. So make sure that you have somebody or something that holds you accountable to creating, because it is a priority for so many of us. And if it's not, then we start to feel a little bit sad. And so we have to keep it a priority. So join groups if you don't have anyone in your everyday life that encourages you, motivates you, asks you how you're doing. And for me, it's actually just the internet. It's just posting. I feel this like need to like feed the audience, you know what I mean? To like get my work out there and to consistently have things to share. And on days where I'm like, oh, nothing matters, I don't want to do this, nobody cares, I remember that in fact people do care, and it's going to be in my best interest as well as in others to keep producing work. So get someone or something to hold you accountable to that. Number 5 is so simple. It's just to put your creativity time on your calendar. It sounds really silly, but I really mean it. Put it on your calendar, because when you put something on a calendar, you write it down physically, like in a book of where you keep all of your to-dos, you're more likely to do it. Because first of all, you see that time that's already carved out. You see it, it pops up on your computer, your email notification, and it's like, this is your creativity time. And you're like, it is, I gotta do it. And so it's really good just to trick the brain into having that time by actually carving it out for yourself. So use your calendar for your creativity. And number 6 is to brainstorm passively but work actively. So when you're doing mindless things, when you're in the shower, when you're driving to the store, when you're whatever, like doing something on autopilot that you don't need to think about, intentionally think about creativity. So like every single time that I get in the shower, I try to have this like mental moment beforehand of like, okay, today I'm going to work on character development in my novel. And from the moment I step in the shower, I try to train my brain to keep thinking about that thing, because those are the times when we can brainstorm passively. Passive meaning that it's not like something that you have to do. It's not like you're sitting down at your computer and you're like, I'm gonna get these 10 things done. But it's just time that's free that you can try to train yourself to just start brainstorming. So, you know, like brushing your teeth even. You'd be amazed at how many things you can think of in 2 minutes when you just tell yourself these 2 minutes are for brainstorming. But then work actively. So when you get to your computer or to your workspace, know what you need to do. You've already done the brainstorming, right? You're doing that passively, just like whatever inspires you, just sort of like getting these ideas in your head. But when you sit down to work, know what you're gonna do. So the way that I do that is to use a planner. Every day I write down the things that I'm going to do for the next day. So the day before, I'm writing down finish my emails, post on social media, write a description of the class that I'm working on, work on my novel, whatever. And as long as I'm doing that the day before, then the next day when I sit down to work, there's no question of what I have to do. I already know. So those were 6 ways to create more consistently, and I hope that it helps you, because so many of us struggle with finding the time or the energy or the motivation or even the justification to be creative or do certain things. So carve that time for yourself, and I hope that you have a beautifully creative week this week. If this video was helpful for you, then please subscribe and pass it on. That way I can keep making these videos. Bye!